What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Team Chat Podcast, a weekly show where we talk about video games, the ones we love, the ones we hate, and everything in between. I'm one of your hosts, Jerrett Wilson, joined by Rachel Mogan.
How's it going?
If this is your first time listening, thanks for joining us. You can subscribe to the show across podcast services such as iTunes or SoundCloud, as well as our YouTube channel where you can watch the video version of each episode. Side point, you can also now watch the videos on Twitch, although I realize, since we're recording this on a Tuesday, I haven't uploaded the most recent one
come on,
yet.
Jerrett,
I'm still not used to doing that. But now also you can listen to the audio version. I'll get it out on iHeartRadio. We have been added to the iHeartRadio.
You didn't even consult me about that.
I'm just trying to get us out there.
I know. Everywhere. I'm just kidding. You do whatever you want, buddy. It's all helping. I was excited about that iHeartRadio thing, though.
A pretty big one. I was pretty excited about that one too. So you can listen to us on iHeartRadio now, or watch us on Twitch. Again, I have a full list of everywhere that you can watch and listen to the show on our website, teamchatpodcast.com. It's a page where to listen. It's got the full list there. But if you have any thoughts, questions, or suggestions, email us at teamchatpodcast@gmail.com or find us online on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Finally, we are a completely listener-supported show, so if you are enjoying and really loving what we're creating, please check out our Patreon page where you can support the show, and in return, we'll give you cool perks like getting the episode early before their general Tuesday release and access to our private Team Chat Podcast Discord server. If not, that's totally fine. We'll keep making the show week after week and bringing you great gaming content. Find out more at patreon.com/teamchatpodcast. And a special thank you to all our current patrons who help make Team Chat Podcast possible.
You almost had it. And one more thing that people can do to support the show, you know, if you're not able to become a patron, if you can't, be one of those recurring donors, something else that really genuinely helps us is ratings and reviews on iTunes.
Or Facebook too. Those were turned off originally, and I didn't even realize that was a setting that could be turned off or on, but I turned them on now. So yeah, reviews there too.
I mean, just dropping a little review on iTunes, for example, that bumps your podcast up, in iTunes' algorithms, and that can really help us with our visibility, being seen, and of course gaining new listeners, which is good for everybody. More listeners means better content.
So slap that subscribe button.
Hit that like and subscribe button, and more importantly, reviews.
Yes, ratings and reviews. Those are all very important. All right, well, before we get to our moment with Mogan and the main topic of today, we did have a listener email written in by our good friend, Cody Peck.
Ba-boom.
Now, if you'll remember a few episodes back, I want to say...
Also, our bad for forgetting last time, Cody.
Yeah,
sorry.
We're not perfect. We try to be, but we're not perfect every day. But so a few episodes back, Cody came on to talk about video game localization and the main crux of that being Monster Hunter World, because he was a big fan of that series and been playing that game since it came out. And he kind of gave us his first impressions of the game. Well, he's since then completed the game, given us his full review, and that's what he wrote in with here. So, gonna read through this real quick. Quite a few paragraphs, but we'll get through it.
He's just scrolling and scrolling.
All right, so here we go. So I'll pause in between and we can react.
Discuss, indeed.
Yeah. Hey guys. It's been a while since I was on the podcast, and it's been even longer time since I've actually written in. And in that time, I've put in many an hour into Monster Hunter World, 86 hours to be exact. Whew!
Nice.
And even though this is barely scraping the surface, Jesus, of the content of a Monster Hunter game, I do feel that it is enough hours for me to give an official Monster Hunter World review.
I wonder if it's just barely enough hours, 86, or if it's
to me, that's usually for most games that I play, that's the end of the game.
That's the end of the game. That's the platinum trophy.
Exactly. Assassin's Creed Origins was 78, 79 hours, something like that. Got that platinum.
Burn on Assassin's Creed.
But from what I hear, though, about Monster Hunter World, there's so much to do. Yeah. Just it's ridiculous how much you could do. So, Cody, I know you like to get those trophies sometimes. I know you've platinumed a couple. I think you platinumed Horizon Zero Dawn, if I remember correctly. So how close are you to the platinum?
I'm going to go on ahead and make my official guess right now. 20%.
20%? You think he's enough? I'm going to give him a little bit more credit than that, being that he's gone 86 hours in. I'm going to put him at a solid 57% on those
You know what? I actually kind of think I agree with you. I'm going to go...
You can't change it now?
Yeah, no, you're right. 20%. I'm maintaining my answer. Convictions, Jerrett.
All right, here we go. But he says, before I begin my review, however, I will preface this by saying that I am a longtime Monster Hunter fan and veteran of the series. And while I have tried to remain as unbiased as possible in my review, take my fandom into account and take what I say with a grain of salt. So without further ado, let's begin. Monster Hunter, Old and New, is a series with a very simple concept at its core. You hunt monsters. Seems clear enough. Those monsters can range from the harmless, albeit annoying Jaggy, I hope I'm saying these right, to the imposing threat of the enormously powerful Fatalis, a dragon that made an entire civilization of people retreat from a castle it now calls home.
Oh, jerk.
Monster Hunter is an RPG game without many classic RPG elements. For example, there's no level up system in these games. That's interesting.
I didn't know that, actually.
There is no way to improve your base character other than from how powerful you are when you first begin the game. The only way to improve this in-game is to hunt monsters, carve materials from their bodies, use said materials to make better armor and more powerful weapons, rinse and repeat. That's an interesting spin. I like that.
That is fascinating. I guess, like, even in Pokemon, for example, you can always improve your base stats. I didn't know that wasn't a feature of the Monster Hunter
in most
series.
like Dragon Age, you have your
you have
allotment
like
of points and skill points and
dexterity,
stuff like that.
intelligence, that kind of stuff.
Which
and you
honestly,
can usually.
I like this system because the old system usually stresses me out, and I'm I don't know how to do this.
Yeah, because you're like, I don't know if I'm making the right decisions.
And I can't change it. What if I want to have more willpower later?
And see, this system
what if
of
I want
like,
to have a silver tongue that can weave lies?
Whereas with this system where you're just obtaining the materials that you want and or need for the armor that you need, that's all about look. That's all about aesthetic. And so I'm really into that system.
There we go. Where was I?
I can't wait for the thrilling sequel, Monster Hunter Fashion Show.
Ooh, Fashion
I have ideas.
This has been the core of the Monster Hunter series since the very first title on the PlayStation 2, and Monster Hunter World is not different. Monster Hunter World has taken everything that made Monster Hunter great in the past, made many quality of life improvements, and made a few changes to the game without losing any depth of gameplay. Monster Hunter World starts with your character, a hunter, on a ship sailing across the sea to a new continent to start life anew. On the ship, you meet a few companions and get introduced to your partner, Palico, which is a kitty cat that helps you hunt. Did I mention you get a pet kitty cat that helps you take down giant monsters? I didn't? Oh, well, yeah, you get a pet kitty cat that helps you slay giant monsters.
And it's really cute.
I do love the Palicos.
Yeah, so cute.
And I love all the videos, too, that I've seen online of all the real cats reacting to seeing the Palicos, because apparently there's like a character customization for the Palicos as well. And so when the Palico's just big on screen and the cat's like, what? I don't like this. All right. And you have your ship sunk by a 100-foot tall monster called Zora Magdoros. Ooh. While in the new world, you have to hunt monsters to protect your fleet and others and to help expand, all while trying to figure out what Zora Magdoros is doing here and how to stop it. As with previous Monster Hunter titles, the story is not why you play the game. It's a lackluster story that doesn't really grab your attention, but that is not where Monster Hunter World shines. The gameplay is the star of the game and what will keep you coming back for more. Past Monster Hunter games had a very in-depth and complex fighting system that rewards patience and knowing your enemy, but previous titles have had clunky mechanics and sluggish controls at times. Monster Hunter World has the in-depth gameplay and improved fluidity and movement of the combat to make a more fluid and natural feeling combat while maintaining the difficulty of the game, which has always been a core component, many claiming that if you like Dark Souls, you will like Monster Hunter. Oh, there we go.
Maybe it's just a more brightly themed Dark Souls.
It seems to be that way. A little bit prettier.
It is very vibrant and pretty. Yeah. That's true.
The armor system in Monster Hunter World compared to previous titles has been greatly simplified and made more manageable by the quality of life changes they have made to the game. At first, I was not a fan of the new system, thinking it would reduce the complexity of the game, but overall, it is a good change. After 45 hours into the game, I came to the point where I could face the final, in quotes, boss monster. This was with me spending time to grind for the armor and gear that I wanted in the game so that you could probably get through it faster if you don't want to do that. Everybody likes to derp around in a good RPG.
Exactly.
I'm all about doing that.
Who does just the main story and blazes through? Nobody.
I feel like people who have to review the game.
Oh, yeah. I feel bad for those people.
It's a half, it's like glass half full and also half empty at the same time. I'm getting early access to these games, if I was a, actual reviewer where they're sending me stuff early. But they're like, get you early access to these games, but then you pretty much have to play the main story and like dabble in side quests so you can talk about it, but you don't. I feel like you probably wouldn't get as much time to actually fully do everything. So while it's cool that you would get everything early and before anybody else,
you don't get to do like the fun stuff.
Exactly.
You're actually
because you got to finish that one to do the next one.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's a never-ending grind. Okay, where was I? Keep losing my place. Okay, after the final boss, more monsters can be hunted, new areas can be explored, and even more options for weapons and gear customization become available. This makes the late game in Monster Hunter World chock full of content to keep you going. That's good.
Yeah.
Good in-game. A good, strong in-game is key. Although the game has amazing high points, there are parts of the game that do not really strike home. Monster Hunter games are notorious for being a little too complex, and while World fixes many issues with this, it still falls into this pit hole a little bit. The online system, which is where the game needs to shine, was riddled with ambition that just fell flat on its face. The Gathering Hub, where you can meet up with up to 15 other hunters online and engage in hunts with, is almost always empty due to how the quests end. This makes it very difficult to hunt with other people online, which is very troublesome for this game. Monster Hunter World also goes under the assumption that you will always be connected to the internet, so most of the menus go off that assumption and are confusing to navigate. But don't worry, there's an offline mode you can still play if you don't have access to stable internet connection. Despite all these cons, the game is simply incredible. Being on the PS4, an actual console instead of the 3DS, has made for not only a much better looking game, but also one that plays better, has more impressive content, and better server for online play with your friends, which is hands down the best way to play. Monster Hunter World has raised the bar for all future Monster Hunter titles and is, I believe, the best Monster Hunter title Capcom has ever released. And as of me writing this review, Monster Hunter World has updated the game to fix many of the issues I spoke of earlier, which means the developers are actively listening to the community and taking feedback. Whether you are new to Monster Hunter or an old veteran of the series like me, now is the best time to get into the series. It has never been easier or more popular than now. It is just a super fun game to play, and whether you play solo or with your hunting squad, and I highly recommend it. Monster Hunter World gets a 9 out of 10 from me. Going to change it to our ranking system.
Yeah, that's a
90 out of 100.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's a legit 9 out of 10, not one of those bullshit safe answers that most reviews give.
Nice. And now, one quick thing that I think Cody told me while we were talking about Monster Hunter the other day is that if I understood him correctly, I could have been spacing out. Who knows? He was saying that the early game, like the beginning of getting started, getting set up, learning the tutorial, I gather that that's a bit of a slogfest. So that early game might be a little bit painful to get through, but it sounds like from his review, most of the best content comes in the mid and the late game. So apparently it's worth it. If that's a 90%, so that's a pretty high praise percentage from Cody.
I hope I don't play the game and feel let down, because that's a pretty strong recommendation.
What if your recommendation only clocks in like a 40%?
Could be.
It could be.
Could be. You know, everybody looks at these games differently.
That's true. All right, so switching gears real quick to a bit of news and updates. News. So as of this episode's air date on April 17th, we will have out now Yakuza 6, The Song of Life for PS4. Coming very soon, Total War Saga, Thrones of Britannia. That's launching April 19th. Also on April 19th for PS4 and Vita, Metal Max Xeno. And then the big bads of the month are finally coming out towards the end of the month. April 20th, we have God of War for the PS4. And then we also have, for the Switch, the Nintendo Labo Variety Kit and the Labo Robot Kit, launched side by side on April 20th as well. So for Switch people, you're getting the Nintendo Labo. PS4 people, you're getting God of War. Xbox, sorry.
You still got stuck with Sea of Thieves. That's all you got.
That's all you got.
That's all you got going for you right now.
I'm sure that we'll be hearing a lot more from Jerrett once he's actually able to play God of War.
Yes. So here's the thing about that. I'm going to touch on this. Obviously, this game's pre-ordered. It's coming to my house April 20th. Don't worry about that. And I also got on pre-order lock the Stonemason edition. So the big bad, which I've gone back and forth on if I should downgrade to the collector's edition, because the Stonemason only has a few extra added little collectibles in to make the difference. But I realized, I was actually looking at this today and realized that I used like reward points on my Amazon, so it'd actually be more expensive to go to the collector's, or it's only gonna be like $10 difference as opposed to like normal 30. So I was like, I'm gonna keep it. But anyway, so with that, I'm also got some work travel coming up, and I'll be home on that day, but I only have like a couple days after that before I have to leave again. So I don't know how much time I'm going to get into it / when I'm going to be able to put up the first impressions video of talking about it. But I am going to, it is my plan to do an unboxing of the Stonemason edition like we did last year with Horizon Zero Dawn and Breath of the Wild special edition. So look forward to those coming out in a couple days after you listen to this and watch this episode. Yeah, I'll see if he wants to like climb around.
That will drastically increase. People,
if he fits, he sits. You know what I mean?
If they see that cat in the thumbnail, they're going to be like, "Oh, I'm definitely watching."
A cat playing God of War.
Playing God of War.
I'm all about that.
And then
I'm so psyched. I'm like legitimately. PlayStation has been coming out with this constant stream of videos highlighting it, talking about these new, like how the progression system, there's even like a slight character customization apparently, and all this other stuff about it. And they even did one on the music, which I had to watch. Like I wanted to watch that one because it sounds so good.
I bet the music probably is going to be baller. I'm excited about that.
I don't know if you remember, but a couple of years ago at E3, when they first announced God of War, PlayStation started off their show with a live orchestra.
Oh, that was such a thing to do at the time.
Doing the God of War, the new God of War theme. And so they're actually, so in this video, the composer, Bear McCreary, it's like they actually got this chorus, this choir that is from Iceland that sings in Old Norse.
Oh, nice.
And so, but it's like, oh, it's so good. So, but I've tried to stay completely, from these little bits pieces that I see, but I'm not watching videos except for the music one because duh. And I didn't think that would give too much away from the actual gameplay and stuff like that, but I haven't watched gameplay. I haven't watched anything other than trailers that have come out because I'm trying to stay fresh and new to this game.
Go in
I'm so
blind.
excited.
Yeah, you got to go in blind. That's the way to do it.
Yep.
And then in just random other odds and bits and bobs of news from around the web, Yokai Watch 4 has just been announced for release on the Nintendo Switch in Japan this year. So Japan is getting a new version of Yokai Watch 4. This will be its first installment on a console. So this is its first foray into Switch territory. That's going to be released in Japan later this year.
Cool.
There's no release date for the West quite yet. It will presumably come to us probably sometime in 2019, depending on the localization. According to the CEO and president of Level 5, the people who make the Yokai series, it's super extremely enhanced content.
Super extremely.
They use that phrasing, super extremely enhanced content, and that basically all of the content is going to be upgraded and made better on the Switch. And then Sega is polling on Twitter for which costumes people would want to see in its upcoming, not upcoming title, but an upcoming title, Persona Dancing. So Persona has done some crossovers before, and so has Sega. So they're basically doing a poll right now about whether or not people want specific Yakuza or Sonic the Hedgehog or Virtua Fighter skins for your characters in Persona Dancing. That sounds crazy.
Yep.
Crazy awesome. And that Persona Dancing, I believe, is coming out later this year in May of 2018.
Cool.
So, or at least the new iteration of Persona Dancing is.
Yeah, because hasn't there been Persona Dancing All Night or something like that?
Dancing All Night was the first one. This one is, I think, Dancing Star Night.
Okay.
And Dancing Moon Night. I believe
what
I am
about Dancing
correct.
Sun Night?
No.
No?
Nobody dances in the sun.
Praise the sun.
People can see you that way. Nobody wants to see that, Jerrett. And then this is news that just really hit home for me. For the 30th anniversary of the Mega Man series, this year Capcom is bringing all of the Mega Man X titles to the PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC on July 24th. And the catalog of the X games is going to be split up over two titles, Mega Man X Legacy Collection 1 and Mega Man X Legacy Collection 2. The first collection has Mega Man X through X4, X4 being the best one! Mega Man X4! And then the second disc will contain X5 through X8. Retail version is going to have the 2-disc bundle. So both will also come with a new X Challenge mode featuring battles against two bosses from different X titles simultaneously and other new content.
Nice.
And that's all we've got.
Well, there we go. There you have it.
Your news and coming soon. And that brings us to today's topic.
Yes.
Which is something that Jerrett and I just kind of thought of on our own as we were
technically you thought of it on your own.
I suppose I take
credit where credit's due.
But we've talked about this subject quite a bit in the past, mostly in passing and just sort of in like a joking or for funsies way, because the topic of today is more or less educational games.
Which something I haven't touched since I was a wee lad.
And it's something that we've actually never really talked about on the show. We've never just sat down. We may have mentioned them in passing, and everybody jokes about the Oregon Trail all
which
the time.
I know we've talked about before.
I mean, how many people have that died of dysentery? Am I right?
Several.
So many. Yeah, it's a problem.
Yeah, I'm glad they fixed it.
Glad they fixed it. Back in the old Oregon Trail days, they didn't have newfangled medicines that could fix dysentery.
Let them die.
To let them die. Let the caravan move on without them.
Yep. But so we just wanted to talk about for this episode, we wanted to go back and kind of reminisce a bit. Not necessarily have a list or anything like that, just more of just these games and like how, because honestly, like several, like I said, I haven't touched many of these games in upwards of 15 years.
Yeah,
like,
literally.
You know, so and then most of the descriptions for these, like I was going back and looking at some of them on Wikipedia and different things like that. There's not a whole lot, just like other than basic story plots and premises, if they even had plots and premises, or not just like a collection of random activities you could do.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So what was one of these ones that struck a chord for you?
Well, first, before we kind of get into the ones that we all know and love, or that hopefully everybody knows and loves, I do have a quick, like, brief annotated history of the educational gaming subset. So obviously, educational games are really something that it's its own unique corner of the industry. Education games are primarily targeted towards either educators, so teachers, for use with their classrooms, or of course parents. So the primary target of these audiences would really ultimately not be the end user, which is the child. It's more geared towards who actually has the purchasing power to make that actual sale, which is the educators and parents. So the very first game that we could now know as an educational game came out in 1970, and it was a computer program called Logo. Logo blended mathematics and programming in order to teach players the basics of coding by directing a turtle-shaped cursor to draw lines. That's literally all you did. You had your turtle, and you basically had to like input code by learning through the program to be able to draw lines. Followed very shortly after that came the most well-known educational game probably of all time, the Oregon Trail.
Right.
So developed by MECC, that's MECC, this was released in 1971. So literally just a year after Logo would have been released. However, Oregon Trail was not available for home purchasers until the first mass-produced personal computers became available back in the 80s, I believe it was. So initially, the Oregon Trail could only be found at schools because only teachers had the ability to actually purchase the software needed to be able to install it on their computers. So pretty much during the entire 70s, you just didn't have the ability to play the Oregon Trail unless you were literally in school. So of course, the aim of the game is to teach American geography and history by having to guide your family along the way during the 1800s from the East Coast?
No, not usually the East Coast. I feel like it normally
right?
kicks off in crap.
Where do you,
Missouri.
Missouri. Okay.
Independence, Missouri. I want to say that's one of the starting places.
You
can
started
pick
like a trading post, right?
Okay, wait. The one that I played the most of the Oregon Trail was Oregon Trail 2. And this one, I believe, let you start in... I think you had 3 starting locations.
That were kind of like your difficulty settings?
Not necessarily. I think, maybe, because some of them maybe have like a longer trail. Now I got to look this up.
Yeah.
But I want to say one of them was Independence, Missouri. I feel like they were all in like Missouri, Arkansas. I don't think there was one in Oklahoma.
Well, you look that up. We'll just sort of breeze through this.
Keep going.
And then pretty much after the Oregon Trail became a big thing, the market for educational gaming stayed really small at first. Again, because during the 70s and the early 80s, people just didn't have the ability to buy these games for themselves. However, the release of the Apple II personal home computer in 1977, followed by the Commodore 64 in 1982, brought personal computers into many Americans' homes, and the business changed drastically and has now morphed into educational gaming as we know and love it. So one of the peak titles that would have come out during the initial start of mass market for educational gaming would have been everybody's favorite, Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego?
I did play some of that game.
Originally released in 1985, the game had players chasing art thieves all over the globe and quizzing them with randomly generated geography questions. This was largely considered to be one of the first fun educational games. I gather a lot of people didn't really like the Oregon Trail. But Carmen Sandiego is an icon, so it has spawned numerous sequels and its own television show.
Yep.
There's no Oregon Trail show. No. Everybody would die.
You can't show too many people.
Also, who wants to animate dysentery? Nobody.
Nobody.
Right, gross. And so all of this kind of eventually leads into what really now is modern educational gaming that is not so much hardcore. These games are for educators and parents. There definitely is that market, especially for really young kids, ages 3 to 6 and that kind. But really one of the modern day Goliaths of educational gaming now is Minecraft.
Yeah.
I mean, when you really think about it, you can make anything in Minecraft and you can, by extension, teach anything in Minecraft. So a lot of teachers are finding that if they make their lesson plans in Minecraft and release that to their students, they get really good results. And of course, the uprise of the iPad, which is a much more affordable and less destructible version of an iPhone/laptop that people can easily give to their children. They've got thousands of apps available now that would be considered educational games. That has really made educational video gaming a really mainstream and super accessible part of the market. I don't unfortunately have many figures on how much money is actually generated by the educational gaming industry, but I would bet it's in the gazillions.
Well, I mean, and it's pretty much like it's been throughout the time. It's always been like 2 or 3 companies, like MECC, Broderbund for a little bit. They started making the Carmen Sandiego games, and then eventually, when Broderbund was bought by the Learning Company,
the Learning Company is the juggernaut of educational gaming. They make everything.
Yeah, and so it's probably pretty much them. Okay, so I did figure it out. I don't know why. Independence, Missouri. Yes.
Yes, memory. I learned something.
And then you could either start in either Independence, Missouri, St. Joseph, Missouri, Kanesville/Council Bluffs, Iowa, and Nauvoo, Illinois.
Let me see that one.
Nauvoo, Nauvoo.
You're probably right.
I hope so.
I have no idea how to pronounce that.
I do not mean to offend the citizens of Nauvoo, Illinois.
It's probably
that's even still a thing.
Yeah, right. That town might not even be there anymore.
And then you could choose to go to different ending areas: Oregon City, Sacramento, Jacksonville, Oregon, or Salt Lake City.
Really? That's fascinating, because when I was a kid,
Oregon Trail 2.
an Oregon Trail 2.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Truthfully, I don't know which version or versions I played. I do remember that when I was first exposed to the Oregon Trail, this would have been mid-90s, would have been when I was in elementary school. And we really had our first class, computer class, that was probably my first exposure to mainstream PC computers. We had those old, super candy-colored Macs, iMac, right?
Yeah. Or EMAC.
I think it was iMac.
Cool, because they had both.
Was EMAC the square one?
EMAC, well, iMac was the ones that eventually looked like, the first ones kind of started looking like I think they did have crap, I don't remember.
We had the ones
I've seen both at one point, and I always thought like E was like educational Mac, and that's why they called it that, so it was the one more like geared for schools kind of thing.
Maybe we did have those then. All I know is that they had like kind of the clear see-through casing, and the backs would either be like bright pink or bright blue or bright lime green, and like they had the little rainbow apple logo. It was very, like, to a kid, I was like, these are awesome.
I want it forever.
Yeah, because if you make anything candy colored and shiny, kids are going to be like, I want, and you could see through them.
Yeah.
Which, as they found with the special edition crystal versions of the GameCube, not the GameCube, the Game Boy Advanced and the Game Boy Color, I was like,
everybody likes to see the gadgets inside.
We have to see what's in it, which is really just another plus for educational gaming. Mm-hmm. If you tell kids what's inside, they will want to know more.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So another fun thing about the Oregon Trail too. Oh, and where was that all that like that timeline from? So if people wanted to go back and like kind of read through the whole thing.
That's a great question. You talk about something else while because I know I found it from somewhere.
Okay, just if people want to go look into it more, just so they know where to look. But yeah, Oregon Trail 2, I remember playing that one. I probably played the most of. But we also did have not the original version of Oregon Trail, but we had like a remake or redone version of the Oregon Trail that was on floppy disk actually. Okay.
I found this article from Immersed Games. So it's called The History of Educational Video Games on immersedgames.com.
Boom. There you have it. You can go check it out there.
Yeah, the whole article was actually really interesting.
Nice. I want to go read it. Yeah, I want to go read through it. But so I remember playing a little bit of the first Oregon Trail on these floppy disks, but then we later got Oregon Trail 2, and it was so much better because it was more interactive. It used that full motion video. Do you remember? That's
full motion video.
It's where they would basically film live actors and then like input it, so it's like, but it looked like just really terrible green screen all the time.
Wait, so that they put an overlay over it so that it looked like it was almost animated?
Yeah.
Rotoscoping.
Well, no, that's the but
Yeah,
no,
is that the same thing?
It's similar. It's a similar thing. I know what you're talking about. So like full motion video.
Full motion video. That sounds like fake news.
No, it's a good thing in cutscenes. Let me just find a video here. But I remember that being a fun thing because I remembered at the time being like, oh wow, that's cool. It's like real people. It's like their actors.
Wait, in the Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I think I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Wait, look it up in the Oregon Trail.
I know, that's what I'm doing.
Oh my God, I want to see this. That's a memory that I didn't realize I had.
That's why we do talk about these older things every once in a while.
This is why I'm glad we're bringing it up.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, they had they had people that would talk to you about stuff.
Yeah.
Perfectly normal educational stuff.
Let's see. I don't know if any of these are going to do it or going to have
Yeah, just pick the second one there.
Oh man, that music.
This was my absolute favorite game as a kid, so I've been looking for an excuse to play this for a while.
Yada yada yada. Don't care. I want to find where somebody's going to talk to me. See, so it's like this guy. When you would come and like talk to him, see, like he's frozen there looking all creepy. Or like here.
Yes! Oh my God, the shop clerks. You're right.
Like they're real people, but they'd be just frozen until they had to like say a line and then they like come and like move.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
Like all these people, you could click on them and then like... Oh yeah, good old independence. But anyway, so that was a big thing that I remember like being a big part of these. Stop talking! There we go. Being like part of these early games like that, and I remember loving that because it was. They also did that in Rebel Assault 2, not an educational game, but
I was supposed to say, was that Oregon Trail Rebel Assault 2?
but I love the Oregon Trail, and that's probably the one that Oregon Trail was probably the second most played educational game for me. The number one for me. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, all I was going to say is seeing it, that probably is the version I played.
Yeah,
it looks like
Oregon
I
Trail
probably
2.
grew up on Oregon Trail 2.
Because it came out, I believe, in 95 is what it said.
That would make more sense for my timeline.
So the one, though, that I played the most, because it hit all the buttons for me as being one that I had to learn. You know, I could pass it off as I'm learning. But it also had more action, had a little bit more gameplay to it than just go to these areas and solve the puzzle kind of thing. Was Operation Neptune.
I've never even heard of this.
You are missing out.
Oh my, I probably am. Tell me about Operation Neptune, good sir.
Operation Neptune was from 1991, actually.
Oh, so pretty early on.
Yeah, so early on. And it was made by the Learning Company.
Classic.
And so what it is apparently this space capsule fell from space into the ocean.
Okay.
And some radiation or whatever from it is starting to mutate and have an effect on the sea.
Oh my.
And so what you have to do then is you are in this submarine that goes through all these like underwater caverns and passageways, typical 2D platformer, like,
right.
You gotta, and everything, but you
kind
have
of side scrolling.
Yeah, side scrolling,
Gotcha.
but you have to like go down into some areas, go across, go up, go through, kind of navigate all this stuff. But there would be all these fish that would be swimming around, different kinds of fish. Like I remember barracudas being really bad puffer fish. You'd be going by them, they all of a sudden, whoop, and if they hit you, you would lose oxygen in your submarine, and eventually, that's your life, your health bar, basically.
Right.
But you would go for specific amounts of time, and then you would have to answer a question. All math related, which was terrible for me.
Oh, it was all math? Oh,
math,
never
science
mind.
related.
I would have hated that game.
And I mean,
oh my gosh.
I hate math. I'm terrible at math. Still don't really know math at all to this day.
So you didn't learn anything?
No, because, you play the game enough, the questions start repeating themselves, and then you can just go on. But still, I was able to overlook that and just enjoy it because you could also... to help along, you had ink pellets that you could shoot out of your submarine. If you hit a fish, it would cover them in a cloud of ink, and you could go by them, and they would like.
Oh, so they would leave you alone.
So there was this like shooting aspect to it.
That's the only reason you liked it.
But no, it was so fun because you could like go really fast and like have to dodge, and you could like have to time your turns to the sub, or like you could turn the sub in a completely in all directions. Obviously, still in the 2D space, but you could turn it where it was facing you. Going, pointing to the left, pointing to the right, and you could use those configurations to like skirt by, just like be going fast and just like skirt by like a
juke
fish, juke them. Yeah,
out.
Exactly. So it had so much fun and so much gameplay, and that one I legitimately played. I don't even know how many times I played through that game and beat, because it was, if I wasn't playing it, my brother was playing it, and I was watching him play it. And so
why would you watch someone play a math game? I mean, that's just proof that it was a good game.
It was a good game, and honestly, if Twitch had been around back then, I would be top dog streamer of Operation Neptune.
You have got to find Operation Neptune.
There's probably no way to play that unless you have the old computer.
Come on. Actually, so for people that are wondering, you can still play the Oregon Trail on, I believe it's archives.org, gamingarchives.org or something like that.
I wonder if some of these other ones are on there. I'll have to look it up.
There's definitely a free source out there where you can just freely play the Oregon Trail. But so if you were interested in that kind of game, that makes me think of Math Blaster, of course.
Oh, yeah.
So did you like Math Blaster?
I liked Math Blaster. I did not have Math Blaster because Math Blaster, I believe, was only PC.
Oh, now that I think about it, I'm not sure if we played it in school. I know I had a
friend who had it.
We had it on our family's first real family computer.
Yeah.
Where you have it up at a sacred place in your house.
Right. It's like the room. I mean, for me, it was our schoolroom because I was homeschooled.
No, because I like that you whispered it. Homeschooled.
But so was my friend who had Math Blaster. They were homeschooled too, so they had it in their office, schoolroom, and all that stuff. But yeah, I remember playing Math Blaster. I liked Math Blaster because it was normally it was easy enough stuff that easy-ish enough stuff. I'm not going to give myself too much credit that I still could have fun playing that game for what it was and what it was supposed to be.
Have you seen the new edgy versions of Math Blaster?
No.
Dude, look at this edgelord. Oh my god. He looks like Goku and Sonic smashed together to be a super cool dude, space cadet Math Blaster. That's ridiculous. No, the Math Blaster that I think probably both you and me had looked more like maybe a Looney Tunes character. He was just a little green dude, and he had on a green space helmet, little green suit, little yellow antenna
didn't he have a
coming
little blue buddy?
He did. Yeah, he had a little blue friend that was just some sort of random. He kind of looked like a Pikmin.
Yeah.
He kind of looked like a space Pikmin. And I don't remember anything about Math Blaster other than this one specific level that was it was of course a 2D game, and you would have to jump around and hit certain numbers to make your equations work out. And I think that there were gems or something that you could also collect for bonuses.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Maybe. That kind of sounds familiar.
I don't remember ever getting a question right. I don't know what happened if you did get one right. I was terrible at math as well. Maybe that's just something that a lot of video game people wind up with. I was equally as bad at math, period, no matter what I tried. Even in every other educational game that I played, the math levels were my bane of my existence.
They were terrible. That's why I loved Oregon Trail and other. Did you play any of the other trail games?
No.
Did you not know that they had other ones?
No, the what now?
Yeah, so apparently they made other trail games later. I've only played 2 of the other ones, but yeah, they did. Let's see. I was looking at this earlier.
Dude, they should make a modern version that is hiking the Pacific Crest Trail.
Yeah,
but the Oregon Trail.
That stuff would be fun,
and it's all hipster backpackers. That would be so funny.
Let me see. Where's my list?
So-and-so's REI Co-op tent has suddenly sprung a leak. What can you do to fix it? I should pitch that to REI.
I know, seriously.
They should team up with the learning company.
Get on that.
They should get on that.
Let's see. What were all the trail games?
Through hiking the Appalachian Trail.
So Oregon Trail, Amazon Trail, Yukon Trail.
Oh, the Amazon Trail.
Africa Trail, and Maya Quest.
Wow. Okay, the only one I think I may have known was Amazon Trail.
Amazon
that one
Trail,
sounds familiar.
I played a lot of that one too. That one was fun, but it was also so much harder. Amazon Trail.
Was it really?
It was so much harder because it's different. You would start off at the head of the Amazon River. You had to choose your guide. One of them would have more food. The other one would have a tent.
I forgot that you got to choose a guide.
Yeah, and then you would totally have to set off on your own, but you had to paddle up the river. You had to avoid obstacles in the river, but then also you had to hunt or not hunt, but fish. Which could be difficult, and you had to. I remember you had to throw harpoons and spears and stuff at them, and you the longer you held down the click button, the left click how long you would charge it, so you could throw it deeper and hit deeper, harder fish and bigger fish. And so there's all that stuff like that. But then the big thing, which I totally forgot until I was reading up on this one a little earlier today, that you were as you started the game, were in a dream vision sequence, which is totally weird, visited by this jaguar who was like the jaguar of the Inca king from way back when.
Oh my God. So like from El Dorado, the movie.
It's kind of like the Spirit Quest thing almost. You're exploring the Amazon, but then also going on this Spirit Vision quest that you were set off on by this jaguar. And you had to like collect gifts for the Inca king. And
that's phenomenal.
So it kind of had, and then what I didn't, the part of that though, and how they integrated that in is that there was this slight time travel thing. So like you would go to these certain areas and like travel through this blue mist. Then you would come out and you would be at this settlement or this village, but like Henry Ford was there, like, you know, getting rubber from and everything for his, and you would talk to him about how he was using the rubber to like, you know, for the tires and parts for his Model T and all this other stuff. So, you know, all these different things. But I remember that one being a little bit more difficult because I felt like you had to do a little bit better resource management than Oregon Trail. I don't remember. But the hardest of all of them was Africa Trail. So so this one was a little different in that you weren't canoeing or down a river. You weren't on, you know, covered wagons going across the American prairie. This one, you were on a bike, and you were bicycling. Simple word, hard to pronounce.
Bipedaling, perhaps.
Biking through Africa. This one, I remembered. I felt like I could never get anywhere in this game. I would maybe play it for like an hour, and then all of my teammates would like somebody was like having a wreck and he was too hurt and needed to go home. This one fortunately didn't have any like
So
dying.
Was the premise that you were like on a race?
No, you're just on a cross country bike trek to explore Africa, basically.
Fascinating.
And so, that one, like I was constantly getting flat tires, having kept buying new rubber, new tires and inner tubes, all this other stuff for it. I don't think I ever beat that one, and I probably started over 20 times. Just like but also, again, young kid not fully understanding all the things that need to go into prepping for a cross-country trek, you know what I'm saying?
Of course.
So, you know, but yeah, the trail games I had a lot of fun with.
That's really funny. So actually, I kind of want to briefly touch on the fact that I'm not sure if we actually learned anything that wound up being useful from any of the Oregon Trail games. Because think about it. The only things that I actually remember from the Oregon Trail are getting a flat, breaking one of your tires on your wagon wheel, having to cross a river and your wagon, your raft collapses and you like lose people or you lose supplies. Not being able to cross the final river in Oregon where you have to like go down the rapids. Oh my God, that part was so hard. And hunting. Like hunting hunting was the best part of the game, where it would like briefly go to that screen where like animals would just run across the screen in straight lines, and it was just like.
But some would be faster than others.
Yeah, like especially the ones off in the distance. Yeah, they'd be like the fast ones.
You had to really lead.
And I remember
so if anything, it taught you how to lead.
Oh yeah, it taught you how to lead, and I remember like that's why you're probably Genji main now, right? That's probably what it is.
Absolutely, that's
I remember that like probably about halfway through the game or so, when it finally started getting difficult, I guess the landscape would change to like these pretty purple flowers and grasslands, and you would finally encounter bears. And I was like, oh my God, things are getting serious. But I rarely even got to the bears because all of my people probably died of starvation, dysentery, or drowning. Yeah. So I don't
Why couldn't they stay
know.
In the wagon?
So my question is, I don't know what that game actually taught me.
If anything, I think in that one was to be more of the historical perspective of what life on the trail was supposed to be. I don't know if that was necessarily going to teach you like, you learned about facts, you learned about all these cities along the way that you would stop in. I remember if you passed landmarks like Chimney Rock, now I can forget where it's at.
So you didn't learn anything.
I mean, I learned about it. It's that rock that looks like just straight up chimney.
It's the rock that looks like a chimney.
Wherever that is.
You know the one.
Well, the thing is, too, though, they probably had a much greater impact on our young, impressionable minds back then.
They probably did.
We were in that stuff every day. When we weren't playing that, we were reading a book in school about it or something like that. So I'm sure that paired with a book did a lot.
It probably did. And I'm sure our teachers probably tried to integrate that information somehow.
Right.
But man, in terms of just sheer actual learning, I think that the learning company's other major series that probably did have actual impact on my, and at least Bro Mogan's brains, is of course the Jumpstart series.
Oh, yeah.
So the Jumpstart games, I'm sure that we had the majority of them, but
I don't think we had one or two of them.
The ones that I remember the most were Jumpstart 3, which I believe took place on some sort of mountain. And like the mountain was full of robots, I think.
Oh, really?
It was like Robot Mountain, yeah, and you had to like traverse through the mountain. I think you were trying to get to the top maybe. And along the way, you would encounter all of these different subject areas that you would have to clear, basically. I think one of them had to do with time travel, and you had to jump in, travel back in time, and I guess like meet historical figures or something like that. I don't actually remember learning anything again. But there was also a section where you were like in a kitchen and you had to learn about cooking, I think. There was a section where you had to learn math, of course.
Right.
I hated the math sections. And there would be sections on like reading and writing and typing and stuff like that. But Robot Mountain, which I'm not actually sure if that's what it's called, that's just what I call it, Jumpstart 3rd grade, Robot Mountain, was vastly outclassed by its significantly better older brother and or sister, Jumpstart 4th grade,
Okay.
Haunted Island.
Okay, I didn't play Haunted Island.
Okay, hang on.
But I know I played Jumpstart 4th grade.
I might be getting the name
Because
wrong.
here's the thing. Jumpstart... because they would have different ones for each.
It is Haunted Island. I was right.
That was one of them.
Yes.
Yeah, Haunted Island, Jumpstart. What was the one that was like?
Oh my God. I think Jumpstart 4th grade Haunted Island is now on archive.org.
What?
It didn't used to be. Oh my God, I have to play it right now.
So, because I remembered playing one. Because what was the character? I know they would sometimes change, but what was wasn't it a wiener dog?
Hold up. So it says this version of the game, Haunted Island, was released in 96, but was retired from the line in year 2000 and replaced with Jumpstart Adventures 4th grade, Sapphire Falls.
Okay, so that's what I'm looking at here.
So whatever the hell Sapphire Falls is, that is the fake knockoff version. It is not the real Jumpstart 4th grade. Do not be fooled, listeners and kind watchers and patrons. Jumpstart 4th grade's only best and true version is Haunted Island. Dude, that game was so legit. So on Haunted Island, you were like a kid and you had been transported to this haunted island.
Okay.
Maybe you had even been kidnapped.
Ooh.
I don't remember
dangerous.
how you got there, but I know that the whole point of the game is that you have a yearbook, and the yearbook is full of people that look like just monsters. Like it's just full of monsters, like frog monsters, werewolves, vampires,
Well,
a
that doesn't
mummy,
seem very
all
educational.
of that stuff. But what you actually find out is the monsters are kids. Oh my God, right? Oh my God. I'm a kid playing
Am I
a
a
game
monster?
about kids. And what you find out is that a witch who lives on the island has been going around and kidnapping kids and turning them into monsters.
That is not the Jumpstart I remember playing.
No, this version is way, 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 way better.
Because I think I probably played Jumpstart when those versions that had already been retired from the line because my younger sisters would have been playing them.
Oh, maybe so.
And so I either saw most of my experience or
exposure.
thank you. Exposure to Jumpstart was purely from the ones
If you
that
had
they
played
were
more of
playing.
Jumpstart 4th grade, your vocabulary skills would probably be vastly improved.
Showboating over here.
Showboating with Jumpstart 4th grade Haunted Island. So the real keys of Jumpstart 4th grade Haunted Island were the atmosphere. How many other educational games do you know of that are dark and creepy and they take place
Operation
on
Neptune.
a haunted island? Well, Operation Neptune maybe.
Because at the end you started running into these like mutated fish
Oh
and stuff.
gosh, I bet that is probably pretty creepy and cool.
It was cool.
But yeah, so Haunted Island was really kind of like a point and click adventure because
Okay.
you weren't freely moving around the environment. You would have to click on sections to go to them. But it wasn't like 2D, it was kind of like a more semi-realistic 3D environment. And the goal of the game was to travel to all of the different subject areas. Botany, I think there was one. There was one where you had to like grow plants through logic puzzles. There was history, which took place in tombs, like Egyptian tombs.
very nice.
And it was actually kind of set up like a mahjong game where you had to match tiles of like historical things that had happened.
Interesting,
So
cool.
basically what it would do is it would give you like an image, and like one of the tiles would be Martin Luther King, for example. And then one of the other tiles would be text. So not an image, but text of something related to Martin Luther King. And you would have to match those two to be able to get the tiles. That was actually a really cool version of a learning game
that
I now recognize was Mahjong. But at the time I didn't know that. I was just like, yeah, JFK, this stuff's fun.
History,
yeah. I liked history because I hated the vampire math maze.
That sounds
Dude, that part sucked. So you were like a Dracula, right? And you were having to go around this maze and like basically get numbers. It was kind of set up like Pac-Man, actually. So like the maze was top down and you had to navigate your vampire around to solve the equation on the top of your screen.
Yeah.
So it would be like blank plus blank equals blank. And certain parts of it would actually be like empty or filled in. And using what you had to fill in the rest of the equation. But you had to do all of this while dodging ghosts. Blatant Pac-Man ripoff. I realize now as an adult, but at the time I was just like, fucking hate math. Fucking hate the vampire. Goddamn hate this game.
I don't like
this game at all. There was actually a section where you were like a troll, I guess. I actually think you were technically just a hunchback, but kind of a monster too, and you like lived in a bell tower, and it was the music portion where you had a piano and you would learn how to play music, but only with one finger, of course, because it wasn't like super in depth.
Not playing for release on that thing.
No. The other good ones were chemistry, where you were trying to turn a frog prince back into a prince.
Okay.
He never did get back to all prince, but you could like make his whole head human again, and he'd be like, "Thank you." So
I at least am now even more of a freak of nature.
Close enough. And the game was amazing. And if you completed enough of the subject areas, the whole goal was that you were trying to complete these subjects to be able to get items of the kids in the yearbook. So for example, let's say that I've got somebody in my yearbook who is a jock. I might collect a football. Maybe I collect a pair of cleats. I might collect a baseball bat. And if you collected, I believe it was 4 items of any one kid, you restored that kid. So as the more of their items that you collected, they would go back to being human.
This is fairly morbid.
It's pretty morbid, but I think like one of them was like a musician, so you had to collect like sheet music, a clarinet, maybe a trombone or something. It was actually a really in-depth game that had a lot of levels of engagement to it that I loved that crap when I was a kid. Ask Bro Mogan about it sometime.
Okay.
He will rave to you about Jumpstart 4th grade. Haunted Island.
Yeah, I definitely...
Not this Sapphire Falls bullshit.
And I don't even remember that one. I just remember this one. You were like, I think Frankie was his name. It was a dog. Was like the main character. And you would go on and you just like were in this school and you would just complete various activities. So at school, like there was this one that was like for lunch games, you had to like match and like create all the like food orders and everything that would need to go out, obviously math skills and stuff there. But when you were talking about that one, the game, which I know we're kind of starting to get close to our time, so I want to rush through all these, but the one that I remembered and I didn't play it at home and I didn't play it at friends. I played it at the library actually, because that was where they had it. The Magic School Bus video computer games.
Oh my God, you're right.
Specifically the one that was like dinosaurs. That was on the dinosaurs.
Oh man, I don't know if I had the dinosaur one, but I think I can remember playing at least a Magic School Bus game.
They were all on several different things, but yeah, I remember the one about the dinosaurs.
Good multi-level marketing integration.
I know, right?
Magic School Bus educational show, School Bus
when is that coming
game.
back to Netflix?
Right? Get on
it, I kind of want to watch it
Netflix.
just out of curiosity to see how it's going to be.
Yeah, that sounds super cool.
But yeah, I remember that one. Specifically, there's this one level I remember you were like a little raptor or something, and you were like, as again, I remember those, and I liked those a lot, especially because I remember they had the informational bits, because obviously you would go to the different eras, Jurassic, all the other
Cretaceous.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't even know the eras, you
math and science, worst ones.
Poser.
Worst subjects for me.
What, did you have any good subjects, Jerrett?
Oh, history.
History, yeah.
For
I'm
sure.
sure that was your favorite one.
Which I know technically I guess dinosaurs is history, but not cool history.
Not cool history.
But anyway, so I remember that one. You were like this raptor who would run around and you had to like dodge other dinosaurs and you were like jumping all over it was like a one that was I don't know. It was basically a platformer, but you were, had all these harder difficulties. You were like dodging things. Then I think even at one point in one other period, you were even dodging like asteroids.
Oh no, that's terrible.
Stuff like that. But
that's horrible.
But yeah, shout out to the Magic School Bus series. Then the other one that has to be like surely everybody has played this game or this. It wasn't even necessarily a game, but this program that had games in it were influential on everyone who knows how to type. Mavis Beacon. Did you not use Mavis Beacon?
Mavis Beacon?
Yeah. Mavis Beacon teaches typing.
I'm not. Oh, I will look this up. I'm not sure I've ever heard of this before.
Several different versions of this, because they would have to update it as the newest, latest, and greatest in typing came out. But they
teaches typing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, they made her a cartoon now?
Oh God. Oh wait, so is that the real one? That's the real Mavis Beacon?
That's the real Mavis Beacon.
Mavis Beacon. She looks like a nice lady.
Yeah, she was very nice.
So it's a real lady.
Yeah.
What the heckin'?
And I understand now this one too, like adults could use this.
All right, I'm going to turn my volume down, but I'm going to watch a video of this real quick. You keep talking.
But so I remember in this one, there's specifically one game that was somewhat similar to how Math Blaster would work, where it was basically you were a spaceship.
You're right, I did play this.
Okay, I knew I
just needed to see the view of it. I just wasn't able to see it. Oh my God, I remember
and you would have these games that were like. So the one I remembered though was you were a spaceship, and asteroids were like coming at you, and you had to type the word that was on the asteroids coming at you, and your spaceship would shoot it and blow it up and all that stuff.
That's cool.
But obviously, like multiple asteroids start coming out simultaneously. You're going like Apple, Zoo, all forests.
That's so stressful.
Zimbabwe.
Okay.
It's like, oh my God. And all this stuff. And then obviously the other ones that were straight up just speed drills and how fast you could type without making any mistakes.
That's
stuff
so
like that.
Cool. Yeah. I don't know if that game series helped me at all, because I don't know if you know this. I didn't teach myself to type the real way until about a year ago.
Really?
True
So how did you do
story.
it before?
I don't know if you've ever seen me type before.
I have not.
I wish you had your laptop here so that you could see me do it. I would only type with 2 fingers, and this one for the shift key when I needed it, and I would just go like this.
And how fast could you be?
Fast.
Really?
I was fast. That's why it was never a problem, because I could just type with my 2 fingers. I did have to look at the keyboard. So it's not like I could look at the screen. I had to look at the keyboard to keep my pace. But I never had typos, and I was fast. But I think it was when I got into the real adult workplace.
So you're telling me you played Mavis Beacon last year?
No. Oh, so actually, this is kind of a fun modern take on educational games, I guess, is the way I taught myself to type the real way after some coworkers pointed out, you type funny. And I was like, how about you mind your own goddamn business?
Shut the fuck up.
Would you shut the fuck up? No, so I finally taught myself to type the real way by using ratatype.com.
Never use that.
Which is just it's not fun for starters.
See,
so I probably need Mavis Beacon. It wasn't super fun, but it did actually help me learn to actually sit and type the real way. So I just very recently learned to type like a normal person. Fun fact.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go. Also, fun fact about Mavis Beacon. In the hit song Redbone from Childish Gambino, for the first few times I heard that song, and I just heard little blips of it, when the chorus would start, stay woke, and then it would go into that. I swear to God, he was saying Mavis Beacon.
You should ask him.
No, that's not what he's saying, and I can't say what he's actually saying.
Oh, okay.
But still. In the clean versions that us white folk can say, it said they be creeping. It sounded like Mavis Beacon, and then moving on. And so I know that I knew in my head that was not the real way of how that song went. But I started saying it that way, and it would mess Sam up and all this other stuff.
You should pitch your version to Kids Bop.
Oh my God,
you should.
I should,
so that they can tie in
make
Mavis
it all
Beacon.
around, all about
You should do that.
What would it be?
Or Now Kids or whatever.
What would it be instead of Stay Woke, Mavis Beacon? Although that still works. Mavis Beacon's got to stay.
She's got to stay.
She's got to stay woke, so she knows how to deliver the best typing.
That is so funny
that she can. But yeah, I'll have to think about that. But man, this is one of those things with all these topics where we do lists of these older, more nostalgic things. I always just a million more keep coming into my head.
So one, I know we don't have a lot of time to talk about. I'm going to wrap it up real quick. Treasure Mountain. Oh my God.
I don't think I played that one.
Treasure Mountain was a fantastic game where you played a super seeker, like a nameless, faceless dude that just had a net, and you were trying to get a bunch of treasures back from the Master of Mischief. And the Master of Mischief was at the top of a mountain, Treasure Mountain, and in order to scale up the mountain, you had to go around and capture elves in a butterfly net. The elves would then give you riddles, which were like questions about the world or something.
Yeah.
Math, of course. And if you answered the questions correctly, they would give you clues about where to find the key to get up the next part of the mountain. Best game, except for Jumpstart 4th Grade Haunted Island. Best educational game ever. Me and my sister, our sister and I, we would play Treasure Mountain to death. So much so that on our jungle gym, our playground, literally in the backyard of our house, like when we were little kids, we would play a game where we would run up our slide shouting Treasure Mountain and just actively trying to push each other off. So no, it didn't actually have any educational impact on our lives, but boy did we get bumps and bruises trying to play Treasure Mountain on the playground out back. And of course the safe, fun version of the game back inside on our computer. Nice. Treasure Mountain, 10 out of 10, would recommend.
So another quick honorable mention, not an educational game, but it came up in my mind since my buddy who had Math Blaster growing up also had this game. Did you ever play the great game, inspired, although albeit a non-violent version of Doom, made by Chex Cereal called Chex Quest?
No!
Well, there you have it.
Chex
It's basically
Quest?
old-style Doom, but you're this guy, the Chex guy.
The Chex guy.
Let's see. Who's in, like, his armor is a piece of Chex cereal.
He looks like he's wearing a giant waffle. That's hilarious.
And he basically fights aliens. But it, like, has the same look,
Fantastic.
feel, and everything of Ultimate
Honorable
Doom.
mention.
But it's Chex.
So my honorable mention will be Treasure Mountain, and yours is Chex Quest.
Chex Quest.
Chex Quest.
Chex Quest. Well, that about does it for our time that we have on this topic. But obviously, we could go on and on about these different educational games that we played, and we would like to hear the ones that you played. Did you play some of these games that we talked about? Oregon Trail, Amazon Trail, Africa Trail, Jumpstart 4th Grade,
Carmen
Haunted Island,
San
Carmen San
Diego.
Diego.
Everybody
we didn't even really
played
even
that.
touch on Carmen San
I
Diego.
know, we didn't
but
get to talk enough about
we talk
her.
a lot about Carmen San Diego.
Carmen
San Diego. I don't even remember the theme song now. Where in the world is Carmen San Diego? And that's not right. But
You're just making crap up.
I am making. I'm trying to make it stick. It's like Mavis Beacon. But
Mavis Beacon.
But anyway, so let us know by writing into an email, teamchatpodcast@gmail.com, or writing a post on our Facebook, Twitter, replying in the YouTube comments below, commenting on our Instagram, all that stuff to let us know some of these old classic educational games that you played, or maybe even more modern versions of them, such as shout out to Assassin's Creed Discovery Tour and Assassin's Creed Origins.
Yes, I wish we had had more time to touch on
I wish I had actually kind of played that, but I had to uninstall it to make room for Far Cry 5 and
that's the
soon to be
saddest
God of
thing
War.
I've ever heard.
I know I need to upgrade my hard drive in that.
That's
PS4.
hilarious.
But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But before we go, we do have our soundtrack spotlight for this week. I'll be providing the track. It is one that we've talked about before. I don't think we've used it in any of the other contests or any of it. And if we did, who cares?
Who
We
cares?
can do what we want.
The past is the past.
Past is the past. What's Rafiki say about the past? Wanky. Man. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's in the past.
Oh,
There
yeah,
it is.
sure.
And so, it doesn't matter. It's in the past. So the game that I want to talk about, the soundtrack that I want to talk about is one of ours from Prey, Bethesda and Arcane Studios. Prey, composed by Mick Gordon, specifically with the title track, Everything is Going to Be Okay.
I loved that track.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
I mean, we probably
that's a
talked about this when
great
we did
one.
when we talked about the review
intro
of
was
the
so
demo.
super jazzy.
Yeah,
Yes.
because obviously not Doom, Prey, same composer. That's how I got mixed up in my head. If you played the Prey and all that, it's this very there are the mimics and all this stuff that are taking over the space station. It's very dark, very scary, very survival horror-esque. Well, when the main credits of this of the game start, when you're playing, you're in this helicopter flying around in San Francisco, I believe.
Yeah, some sort of
you're like
New Age
seeing,
city.
and you're flying in this helicopter, and this song starts off. It's very techno, very synth heavy.
It's very like pop and
poppy.
very
And everything it fits. When it started, I was like, okay, what's this now? And because it didn't seem to fit with at all what preconceived in my head what I thought the music of Prey would sound like. So for that reason, it's an excellent track. Everything is going to be okay by Mick Gordon from Prey. But sadly, as much as I wish we could continue talking about educational games for another hour or so, we have to bring this episode to a close. So until next time, I'm one of your hosts, Jerrett Wilson, joined by Rachel Mogan.
Jumpstart 4th grade Haunted Island.
Best game ever, apparently.
Best game ever.
We'll see you all next time. Stick around.